The Iran nuclear deal may be saved after all. Remember, this is Joe Biden's pet project. He desperately wants a win. He helped negotiate this deal as vice president. But his predecessor, Donald Trump, pulled America out. Now Biden has a chance to revive it. So far, he has invested a lot of political capital on this effort. Until now, there was little to show for it. Months of deadlock, threats, counter threats, but no progress. At the Vienna talks, the equation is complicated. America and Iran are not talking directly. Iran talks to Europe, and then Europe relays the message to America. It's a rather complicated setup. And until now, an unsuccessful one. But this week, there appears to have been a breakthrough. Let me show you what Iran's top negotiator said. After weeks of intensive talks, we are closer than ever to an agreement. Our negotiating partners need to be realistic, avoid intransigence, and heed lessons of past 4 years. Time for serious decisions. Coming from Iran, this is huge. They're saying a deal is quote-unquote closer than ever. What about the Americans? The same assessment. The U.S. State Department says the talks are in the final stages.
Is that we are in the midst of the very final stages of, as I said before, a complex negotiation with the key stakeholders here. This is really the decisive period during which we'll be able to determine whether a mutual return to compliance with the JCPOA is in the offing or if it's not.
The French are even more optimistic. Paris says the nuclear deal could be revived in days, but two questions remain. One, are Russia and China on board? And two, what will clinch the deal for Tehran? Let's deal with the first question. The French foreign minister says all parties are in agreement. Presumably, that includes Russia and China. President Macron did discuss the Iran nuclear deal with President Xi Jinping on Wednesday. Here's what the French statement said. The two sides agreed to continue and intensify joint efforts to reach an agreement in Vienna and ensure that Iran fully complies with its nuclear obligations. Interestingly, the Chinese statement does not mention this. Moscow and Beijing have not set any timetable for reviving the deal. Question number two, what will clinch the deal for Iran? Two things. Number one, the lifting of U.S. sanctions. Think of it as a gesture of goodwill. And number two, a political statement from the U.S. Congress. Now, this demand is very important. Iran wants the U.S. Congress to ratify the nuclear deal. Will it change anything? Well, technically, no. Such a resolution does not have a binding effect on the White House. Having said that, there is symbolic value. If Biden signs the deal, it is one person's promise, even if he's the U.S. president. If the Congress signs the deal, it is bipartisan. Symbolically, it is a promise by the people of America. And you cannot blame Iran for this demand. America is not exactly famous for keeping their word. They betrayed Iran once in 2018. If Biden's successor is Republican, chances are they will do the same. So Tehran is right in asking for a guarantee. The question is, can President Biden secure it? 175 House Republicans and 33 Republican senators have written a letter to their president. Their threat is straightforward. Anything you decide in Vienna will have to be approved by us. If you don't consult us, we will kill your nuclear deal. Can the Republicans do that? Well, looking at the numbers, no, they cannot. The Democrats control both the Senate and the House, so chances are the deal will be ratified easily. But there is a bigger problem. What Iran is looking for is bipartisan support. That the next Republican president will not walk out of the deal. And this letter that the Republicans wrote defeats that purpose. It basically tells Iran that Republicans are not on board. And this controversy exposes two American failings. A, the falling prestige of the U.S. Nobody takes their promise seriously anymore. And B, Biden's repeated failure to unite the country. This nuclear deal could be a game changer for West Asia. Yet Biden's pals in Washington cannot be bothered. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.